Hello, Facebook world. This is Katie Max with Get Your Glow On, and it is Mastery Monday. And I am so excited to be with you. I hope you guys had a really good weekend and you're ready to hit the week glowing. So, as I was reflecting on what I wanted to talk about today, and by the way, I would so love your help, because I really want to serve you. You've heard me say this so many times. If there are topics, hey Ash, so nice to see you. If there are topics that would support you in your growth, if there's topics that challenge you, please write in the comment section. It would be so beneficial so that I can, address whatever those topics are. And I promise you, if you have feelings around certain topics or you're struggling with certain things, everyone's struggling around that. So anyway, today when I was reflecting on what I wanted to talk about, I was really thinking about anger, because anger is something that we avoid, right? Anger is something that both men and women avoid. It's a really scary feeling, and for many people, and also like on a spiritual realm, many people are like, don't be angry. And it's like, anger is a part of the human condition. And so I want to just talk about how anger can really be informative for what's going on. So anger is an emotion that is not meant to be experienced for a long period of time. Anger is something that comes up if there's something that's going on that isn't okay or that scares you or what have you, and it's really meant to inform you with information that is necessary. When we hold on to anger for a longer period of time, we usually turn it against ourselves and or others, and we become a victim to circumstances, and it turns into something very different, like blame and resentment. So if you are experiencing blame and resentment, it is like bypassed anger into something that's very different. Okay? So I want to give you an example. I have really felt a lot of anger on and off about what's happening in the world. Okay? I am a social justice advocate. I am committed to social justice, and there are so many things that there are so many things in our face right now that just are not okay with me, right? And so I look for solutions, right? I experience my anger, and then I say, how can I utilize this? How can I actually turn this into something that will be a solution, that will make a difference, where I can contribute and have my voice, encourage other people to have their voice, and to really take a stand for what I believe, okay? That's something that's so positive that comes out of anger, right? Or you can get angry about something if someone overstepped a boundary with you, right? And really get clear about, wow, that wasn't okay with me. So I need to be able to communicate with this person or this group of people, whatever it is, how I need to take care of myself. We were taught to get along in the world. We were taught how to just get along and behave. But we were never taught how to be in relationship with ourselves, let alone others. And we see our world through our own lens, right? We don't see the world as it is. We see it the way we see it. And so it's really a miracle that we get along as well as we do. But there are so many tools that are available. And that's one thing I just want to share with you, that I have so many tools that can take the place of the habits that we keep repeating. Right? And so that's what's so important. We need to learn the tools, and it is never too late, ever too late. So if you're finding yourself struggling and you don't know what to do, and you're repeating patterns, and you're feeling angry, and you're feeling frustrated, and yet you are more committed to looking good in the world and just not actually addressing what's going on, these things are going to keep repeating themselves. And I just want to say, life is too short, and I know you've heard me say this a million times, but life is too short to keep repeating the things that don't work. What if you stepped into your life in a new version of yourself and addressed whatever was going on? And anger is one of those things, right? And so today I want to also give you tips on how to address anger, because I think it's really, really important to start practicing these things. You know, the second you notice that you are blaming somebody or that you are resentful, that's a sign that you need to pull back and pause for yourself, right? If you are carrying the anger on for long periods of time, that is an indicator that it is moved out of anger into something else that also keeps you stuck in a belief and a story about what's really happened. Okay, so my tips today for anger. Hey, Julie, mwah, so nice to see you. So my tips today for anger is, number one, is to pause. Like, take a time out. You know, it's so important to pause and take a time out for just about everything, but it really helps get perspective. Because if we knee-jerk and we engage in anger, it ignites more anger. Right? So it's really important to get clear about what's going on before we just respond and make assumptions and we're just in a whole nother realm off what's really taking place. Okay? So pause. Take time to really reflect on what occurred, right? So that you have clarity. The other is think before you speak. Okay, think before you speak and think before you lash out. So the pausing will really, really help with that. But it's really important to be mindful before you share what's upsetting to you with another human being to really get that clarity. So that's why it's so important to think before you speak. The next one is get to a calm place before you communicate. Right? It's really important because if we're in reaction, we're going to create more reactiveness, right? If we can get to a calm place, and something that I like to talk about, and this is a skill, one of the relationship skills, is really building a level of neutrality. Okay, and what I mean by neutrality, and I've talked about this before, is just getting off being right, wrong, good, or bad, and getting really clear about what you need to communicate from a neutral place so that you can actually hear someone else speak. If we want to be right, if we go into a conversation about wanting to be right, we are going in lit in our anger versus being open to the possibility of learning from somebody else and learning about yourself. Right? Being right is something that human beings love to hold on to because it makes us feel secure. It makes us feel like we have footing. It makes us feel like we're right. And if we're open to learning, there's so much more available. And being right at the end of the day is just about being right and getting to be lonely, really. So the next thing that I want to say, the next tip is move your body, get up, go outside, go into nature, exercise, do something, get out of the environment you're currently in if you're experiencing anger so that you can actually get some room around you. That's really important. Identify the possible solutions, right? Identify what's possible. But in order to identify possible solutions, it's really important to have that space, to get that perspective, to take some time, to be mindful. And in the midst of all of this, take some good deep breaths. That's really important. And then lastly, when you're really ready to have a conversation with somebody about what you're upset about or what you're angry about, do your best to use I statements. Like, I feel this way. I felt this way when this happened. You know, and if you want to get curious, that's a really beautiful tool also to use. Like, I felt this way. I don't know if you intended for that to happen, but that's how I felt, right? And what was your intention? You can ask somebody. But when we come into a conversation and we're defensive and we're like, you did this and you did this and you did this and this happened and then you did this and now, and there's no cheese down that tube, except more conflict and more upset and more escalation. So those are my tips for the day. And again, if you notice that you are feeling angry and it turns into resentment or blame and you are a victim to whatever's going on, that is a big indicator that you get to stop and really get clear about what's happening so that you can get accountable for your piece of what's going on. So I just hope this helped. And please, for those of you that are listening to this and those of you that come later on, my request is please write down anything that you've been struggling with, because it'll really assist me in supporting you so that you can get free of the blocks that are in your way. And believe you me, we all have the same types of blocks. So it will help everybody, and it'll be a huge contribution to everyone listening. So thank you for being here today. I send you much love, many blessings, and I look forward to being with you again on Transformative Thursday. Take care. Be well.